In the U.S., our nation stands at an awkward and painful inflection point. Many in our country are still struggling to deal with the aftermath of a razor-thin election that was won by a mere 7 million votes. So close and yet so far for the honorable Republican challenger. But as we look at this point in our history, you may be thinking, am I looking forward to a Biden presidency? Or am I reflecting backward toward a Trump presidency? But the truth is something entirely different. While our nation's leaders spar for advantages, I can't help but wonder what happens in the sad and valiant life of Kayleigh McEnany. Not since the days of Woodward and Bernstein have we witnessed anyone with such courage, such backbone, such eloquent ability to speak truth to power. Through the darkest night, through misinformation, Kayleigh was the one, the shining light, who showed us all that there is still truth. There is still honor. And there is still news that is not fake news. Over the last century, men and women from all over this great land have fought and have died for the precious freedoms of this country. Freedoms that are personified in the free speech and the unerring integrity that we have seen from Kayleigh McEnany. But this is not just a diatribe, an ode to her amazing truthfulness. Instead, this is more of a forward-thinking thought. It's a concern, not for Kayleigh, but for her family. You see, Kayleigh has a daughter, and if there is a righteous God in the heavens, then before her time is done, she will have borne many daughters and many sons to go forth and multiply over this great land. And while that will be a glorious tale, one that will further every ideal this country was founded upon, I can't help but wonder what a horrific challenge it must be to grow up as Kayleigh McEnany's child. If I aspired to be a baseball player, it would be a tremendous challenge to grow up under the tutelage of the great Babe Ruth. If I wanted to become a Broadway ingenue, it might be quite intimidating to know that Lin-Manuel was my father. And if I wanted to become the most honest, the most forthright, the most respectable human being on the planet, I can think of no greater challenge to know that the great Kayleigh McEnany was my mother. Think back to your childhood. I'm sure you were a fine person, but undoubtedly, there were a few tall tales in that mix. I'm certain that you, like me, pushed the boundaries. As children, we explore the limits. We want to know what is acceptable, what is over the line. And hopefully our loving parents are there to correct us along the way. But imagine that every time you're tempted to tell even the slightest mistruth, you have lording over you the most gracious truth teller of our age. A woman without fail or moral blemish. Every small misstep you make, you have to come home and look at this perfect example of integrity. I suppose we can look at this as the greatest gift a child could ever receive. Because if you're going to raise the most honest, virtuous person the world has ever known, I suppose you could do no worse than to start with a mother as honest and as virtuous as the Honorable Kayleigh McEnany. But there's also a risk here. There's a fear that her children will be burdened by the unattainable and unrealistic standard of the perfect truth teller. We've seen too many times where the paragons of our society unfortunately have children who cannot live up to that standard. And while I'm sure that she will do her best to raise the best possible progenies that she can, I can't help but wonder if that crushing burden of truth and wisdom and honesty that she subconsciously must be laying upon her children will ultimately come back to haunt them. But I'm probably overthinking this. After all, if you want to have the absolute best people in this world, what more could you ask than to have them raised by the absolute best person in this world? They'll probably be fine. No, they'll be more than fine. They will follow in their mother's footsteps as the paragon of truth. They will have statues raised for them at Trump Tower. They will be the next generation of American, nay, world leaders. God bless you, Kayleigh McEnany. God bless you, Trump administration. God save you.